Welcome. We'd like to thank everyone for being here today to show your support for the referendum to repeal the Emergency Financial Manager Law. My name is Kevin Scarnulis, that is going to lead the Northern Michigan effort to gather petition signatures to repeal the Emergency Manager Law. We have today with us our other steering committee leaders, Betsy Kofia, Amy Kerr-Harden, and Fran Cullen. We would like to introduce Mr. Steve Cousins to speak first. He's the superintendent of the Traverse City Area Public Schools.
Thank you very much. You know, a couple of things I want to put into the conversation as we talk about this. The first one is a recognition. I think everybody in the state recognizes there's a problem with the state budget. This is not, we don't collect the same tax revenues that we did 30 years ago. The concentration in our economy regionally of the auto industry has declined. That's probably not, or nobody's really projecting that's going to come back. And so we do have a problem in terms of cuts have to be made. This approach by the state government to do a slash and burn budget, a one-size-fits-all cut to particularly the school districts is not smart, it's not genius, it's not innovative. And I'll just give one example. To cut TCAPs, who by most standards, anybody's standards, has high performance, foundation grant each year, the same as a district downstate that gets $13,000 per year, and for the most part isn't getting the same performance, just doesn't make any sense. It's not a very good business model. It doesn't recognize the hard and innovative work of our teachers and our principals and our support staff in this district. So we have to be smarter about the way that we're going to go about doing this. We've had $900 million taken out of it, creating a crisis, a financial crisis in our schools. And I don't want to say that schools shouldn't be part of the solution, shouldn't be part of be more efficient, shouldn't have a share in the sacrifices going throughout the state, but a $900 million withdrawal out of the school aid fund and then passing that along to other entities is, again, a bit of a manufactured crisis in terms of what we have in schools. In terms of specifically the Emergency Financial Manager Law, it makes no sense to me that we would enact a law that would strip the powers of elected officials. You know, our communities are created around a model of representative assembly. People stand up, they say, this is what I believe in, we elect them to do the job, and it's a rejection totally of our community values when we say that we're going to create a scenario that bankrupts government, and then we're going to bring in people who are just going to sort of slash and burn. I think a better solution to the problem is to allow our representative government to work. If people don't like the decisions that their local elected officials are making, we have a mechanism for changing that. It's called the ballot box. And let's have a different solution to the problem. Let's have a solution that encourages participation in the conversation that we're having around this. Let's encourage the people in the community to be responsible about their vote, hold our elected officials accountable for the decisions that they're making for the community. Part of that is fiscal responsibility, absolutely. And I'll give an example of what we did at TCAPS. We invited our community members and our employees in the room to talk about budget cuts. 220 people engaged in a conversation around what we could do to become more efficient, more effective, and where those budget cuts may go. And then we have an elected board of education that in the end has to make those decisions based on that collective voice. Now that doesn't mean everybody's happy about the solution or everybody thinks that they agree with the decisions that the Board of Education might make, but we created an environment where a lot of people got to be part of the conversation. I think that's a better solution than creating a crisis, a fiscal crisis in schools by taking money out and then bringing in people and giving them powers that even the Board of Education doesn't have in terms of changing the equation. Let's talk about getting people involved. Let's talk about holding elected officials accountable and superintendents accountable for our jobs. That's a better way to go about this than the emergency financial manager law.